Hi everyone, my name is Marta Martín Gilete and I'm from the Universidad de Extremadura in Spain. In this presentation, I will be discussing fostering academic English through peer assessment and OERs in language and literature programs. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that this research is part of the ICLUEX team led by our esteemed colleague Ana Piquer at the Universidad de Extremadura. We are all lecturers and researchers in the Department of English, Philology and Education Sciences, with extensive methodological training and diverse teaching experience across different faculties at the University of Extremadura. If you'd like to learn more about our work, feel free to scan the QR code to access our website. At ICLUEX, our motivation is to enhance the quality of content teaching through English at the Universidad de Extremadura. With this goal in mind, we strive to support integrated instruction by addressing the needs of both lecturers and students. Here is the outline of my presentation. Well, as is well known, there has been growing interest in the internationalization of higher education institutions, as it plays a key role in preparing students for globalized work environments. However, internationalization in higher education does not necessarily extend beyond national borders. As you may have guessed, I am referring to internationalization at home. That is, practices aimed at carrying out activities that help students develop intercultural skills and plurilingualism at their home universities. And how? Among other initiatives, through educational programs such as ICLE, integrating content and language in higher education programs, which focus on training university students for successful academic performance. In this regard, the use of English in ICLE has played a significant role in enhancing interdisciplinary educational approaches to develop academic language and skills. This approach has gained significant attention for its impact on LG learning in higher education. In recent years, students' perceptions and linguistic needs have been widely researched. However, to the best of my knowledge, little attention has been given to their training needs and the development of materials that support higher education students' academic language and linguistic skills. To address this gap, the ICLUEX team first sought to analyze CLE lecturers' training needs in relation to the subjects taught in English, highlighting challenges such as workload and lack of support, but also strengths such as English practice and motivation. These findings are available in open access in the article by Piquer, Pérez, and Castellano Risco, as you can see here. Furthermore, the ICLUEX team has analyzed CLE students' training needs in subjects taught in English, focusing on academic genres, discursive functions, and linguistic skills. To assess these needs, a 2010 online questionnaire adapted from Pérez Cañado 2020 was distributed to 155 students across 15 BA programs at the Universidad of Extremadura, where English is the medium of instruction. The students rated their linguistic competence and training needs. Results indicate that students recognize the need to improve academic vocabulary and linguistic skills, and these findings highlight the need for targeted teaching materials that enhance these skills and provide specialized training in academic and subject-specific English. Based on these findings, the ICLUEX models were designed. These consist of 7 online adjunct CLE open educational resources aimed at developing academic vocabulary and skills for learners at the B1, B2 intermediate level of English. The design of these OERs was guided by the following teaching principles. CLE e-learning, self-study, and the presentation, practice, production, assessment approach. The 7 modules are completed through the Gilete platform. Additionally, each module includes an introductory video hosted on YouTube. Lecturers interested in tracking progress can also integrate all materials into their university's Moodle platform. To access the modules and guidelines, you can refer to the ICLEX guide available in open access on the ESA, the institutional repository of the University of Extremadura. Additionally, you may consult Piquer Pieris' publication on e-learning in English media instruction, EMI, academic language for university students. The ICLEX modules have been successfully implemented with the students at the University of Extremadura, and the goal of the first pilot study was to assess the consistency of the material design. As you can see, the results indicate high overall student satisfaction as well as their recommendation of the models to peers. Students particularly highlight their usefulness in improving academic English as well as enhancing oral and written skills. On the other hand, the second pilot study analyzed the students' performance and development of academic vocabulary skills. As you can see, there was a significant improvement across all modules in the development of academic vocabulary and skills. Now, the current study aims to explore the role of assessment in developing academic skills in English. Why focus on fostering peer assessment in higher education? Because it encourages active student participation in both the teaching learning process and its evaluation. It helps students self-regulate, take greater control of their learning, and develop metacognitive awareness. Additionally, it fosters transversal skills such as problem solving, effective information retrieval, autonomous learning, among others. This pilot study, focusing on the assessment of the ICLEX models, aims to promote a participatory and reflective approach in the classroom through peer assessment practices. More specifically, it seeks to examine the effectiveness of peer assessment in measuring the development of academic linguistic skills in English, using the rubrics from the ICLEX models in comparison with self and teacher assessment. The pilot assessment was conducted with 31 students enrolled in the BA in English Studies, taking the course English Literature 3. They completed Module 5, which focuses on the language of presentations. Almost half of the participants, that is 48.39%, had prior CLIL experience, and their average English proficiency level was B2. Here is a brief overview of the teaching content, language functions, and skills covered in Module 5. Here is the structure of the module, which consists of 5 distinct phases, as you can see. And this is the ICLEX rubric designed for the assessment of Module 5. After completing the line activities, each student gave an individual oral presentation in class on one of the syllabus authors. For triangulation, participants also completed a module satisfaction survey which covered content, overall satisfaction, and reasons for their recommendations. And using the ICLEX rubric, both the teacher and students provided written evaluations of the presentations, enabling a comparison of scores from teacher, peer, and self-assessment through non-parametric statistical methods in R. These are the preliminary results regarding peer assessment versus teacher assessment. Significant differences were found between the two. Peer assessment tended to be more generous, with the students being more lenient with each other, particularly in evaluating content and language elements. Possible explanations include empathy among peers and awareness of the effort and hard work. Regarding peer assessment versus self-assessment, peer assessment scores are generally higher than self-assessment scores. Students tend to be more generous with their peers than with themselves, especially in language-related elements, particularly fluency and pronunciation. Possible explanations. Higher scores may reflect peer support and encouragement. Peers might also place greater value on effort and skill in language use. Regarding teaching assessment versus self assessment, non significant differences were found between self assessment and teacher assessment scores. This suggests that the students can evaluate their own work similarly to teachers, demonstrating self criticism and a realistic self perception. The positive evaluation and high satisfaction highlight that participants rated the QX model highly for its practical utility. They found it easy to work independently. Students reported a high level of satisfaction, and the model was effective in developing academic and linguistic skills in English. In conclusion, fostering peer assessment and CLIL to measure development of academic skills in English presents both opportunities and challenges, as demonstrated in the findings. Regarding opportunities, student participation in the evaluation process, particularly in oral presentations, adds value to teaching programs that include CLIL courses, encourages a more participatory, critical, and reflective approach to learning, especially relevant for degrees focused on teaching practice, as it helps develop key competencies for future professionals. Regarding challenges and focusing on sample limitations, the study is restricted to one group, one lecture, one course, and one linguistic model. Rubrics originally developed for teaching assessment seem more effective for self-assessment than for peer assessment. And also peer assessment may be influenced by personal dynamics, and students may have limited experience using rubrics and evaluation criteria. So also some may be reluctant to adopt new assessment methodologies. So for future directions, peer assessment should be integrated with technology and new educational methodologies. Key areas for development include student training, larger sample size, diverse context, longitudinal studies, and the use of digital platforms. Here are the references I used in this study. And thank you. Thank you for your time and your attention.